Hello and welcome back. We're on to lesson four. Lesson four is going to talk about different economic systems, free enterprise, socialism, and communism, to be exact. So, in order to understand the differences between these three systems, it's important to understand their basic characteristics, like what they are, and compare them to current and historic examples. First is free enterprise. Free enterprise system is also known as capitalism and is characterized by private ownership of property and business. So people own these things, right? In this system, individuals have the freedom to make their own economic choices, such as what to produce, how to produce it, and at what price to sell these goods and services. The government's role is limited and there's minimal interference in the market. Instead, market forces of supply and demand determine prices and allocation of services or resources. Okay. So key is private ownership. We make decisions, the consumers make the decisions, and the government, its role is very limited. Okay. So the perfect example is the US. The US, since its beginning, has been capitalist and it allows people, individuals, to pursue their own economic interests and accumulate wealth. Right. So we can buy whatever we want. We can start a company and sell and make whatever we want. Right. The government can't stop us. Right. This country has an emphasis on entrepreneurship, as we talked about in the last lesson, right? Those that are creative and that can bring the three factors, right? Land, capital, right? All together to make different things, right? Labor included. So, one big um, argument against capitalism is how there's so much inequality, right? Some people have way more and some people have way less, right? And in this system, it doesn't really help people that have less, right? Usually it helps people that have more. So, not all good for free enterprise. Next one is socialism. So in socialism, this is characterized by public ownership of property and planned economy. So public ownership means like the government owns a lot of things, right? A lot of companies. In this system, the government plays a more active role in the economy with the aim of achieving social and economic equality. In socialist countries, right, there's a big emphasis on everybody being equal, right? Not allowing some people to have way more than others. The government controls major industries, resources, and wealth is distributed more evenly among people. Okay. An example of this is Sweden. So Sweden is a socialist country. It's socialist, but it has a mixed economy, like we also talked about in the last lesson. A little bit of both. Um, this country has high taxes, right? Way higher than the U.S. And it has those high taxes to pay for those programs and to pay people to be more even, right? It provides free healthcare, so they don't have to pay to go to the doctor. They have education. We have education, but they also pay for college over there. And there's also generous social benefits. Here, think of like welfare, think of like food stamps. They have the same programs over there, but they give them to more people and they give more amounts. Um, People that like socialism say that this promotes social justice and reduces inequality. So again, there's not very, very rich people and very, very poor people. Usually a lot of the people are sort of in the middle, right? But an argument against this kind of economy is that it stifles innovation and individual incentive. In other words, if I'm not going to get paid more to work more and to take risks in opening a company or a business, then I'm not going to want to do more, right? And if the government's going to give me money anyways, why should I want to do more if I'm already going to get paid? Does that make sense? Here, think about it as a student. I've talked to you about this before. It doesn't give you a lot of motivation if everybody's just going to get 100, right? There's more motivation if you know that if you work hard and you get 100, you'll have that 100. And if you don't work hard, then you will get a lower grade, right? There's no motivation if everybody's just going to get the same grade. Same thing with money, and same thing with how people feel about working harder, right? If they're not going to get more money for it or rewarded for it. And now we have communism. In communism, that's the other extreme. Communism is no private property at all, right? And there's no classes, right? Everybody's exactly the same. Everybody's the same. There's no private, and this also means like you can't own your house, you can't own your car, right? There's no private property, right? In this system, all the production is owned by the community, right? So nobody really owns the factory. Everybody owns the factory, right? The government has complete control over everything, and there's no private ownership or private profit motive. So in this situation, you don't get paid money. You just work because everybody else has to work to contribute, and anything you need is going to be provided by the government. So the government's going to give you a house to live in that you don't have to pay, but you don't choose what house. The government's going to give you a car. Again, you don't choose your car, but you don't have to pay for it. And then the government tells you where to work and how long to work and how much, again, because the government tells you where to do and what to do because you don't have to pay for anything. So that's communism. Historically, the best example is the Soviet Union, although it wasn't a perfect communist society, and the government controlled everything, right? So it planned everything, it controlled a lot of things, right? But again, it faced a lot of problems, right? Inefficient. They couldn't make a lot of items in an efficient way, right? With high quality. And there wasn't a lot of innovation. There wasn't a lot of trying to create new things that were better, faster, and more beneficial. And again, this can lead to authoritarianism, right? Because everybody's the same, right? And the government controls everything. The government can also control what you watch on TV, what you see on the internet, what you listen to as music, where you go to school, what you learn. So even though there's this thought that it's very egalitarian, very equal, you also have to think of what other things a government can control, right? If they can control all these other things, they can also control what you read, what you listen to, what you watch, what you can't watch, right? And this is a bad thing, right? So, in short, these three societies, right? The free enterprise system, which is like the US, socialism, which we see in Sweden, and communism represent three different approaches to economic organization. In a free enterprise system, private ownership and individual freedom is important, where socialism aims for more of an equal distribution of wealth and government intervention. Communism, on the other hand, seeks to abolish, mean get rid of all private property and establish classless society. Again, everybody the same. There's no high class, middle class, low class, poor. It's everybody's the same. And understanding these three historic examples can let you see what's good and bad about each system, right? Each system isn't completely good, each system isn't completely bad. Historically, we can see which systems have been around the longest and which ones have provided the most benefit. In short, you be the judge, right? And thank you for listening to me, and I'll see you in class. Make sure to take the quiz at the end of this video.